friends, welcome to So You Made a Night Cord, Now What? A series where I'm going to be exploring what exactly I'm going to do with all this I-cord I've been making. You guys, I was cleaning my craft space and, well, I stopped because I made this big ball of I-cord out of some fuzzy yarn that drives me nuts. So I'm excited to try to see if I can actually make something out of it. It's as big as my head. I weighed it, it's 300 grams. So this is a fuzzy textured yarn that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's a Premier brand. So this is called Just Yarn Plush by Premier. And you can find it at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. It's 100% polyester, 106 yards, and 50 grams per skein. And it is $1.25. I bought a bunch of it and I haven't used it, and it's been over a year, and this year I really want to make a big dent in my yarn stash. So I thought, since I don't enjoy crocheting with this because it tangles a lot and I don't mind not being able to find my stitches, so I will make stuff occasionally with fur yarn, but this is like, it tangles while you work with it and you can't find your stitches. So I'll deal with one or the other, but dealing with both is just too much. But now that I made it into this like weight 6 I-cord, I'm super excited. Oh, it's so very thin that like it also is super slow to work up. So you kind of have to like double strand it or triple strand it even. And it's just not fun. It's just really not fun. The reason I even bought it was because when I was doing markets in the beginning, I had bought some of it at the Dollar Tree and it was really nice to make chickens with. So because of that, I had like a fondness in my brain for it. So I got it in a bunch of other colors, like this beautiful red. Like this red is stunning. A really pretty blue, a really pretty brown. So I have some of it, but then when I've tried to use it since then, my chickens are like this big, so you know I can put up with it for a little bit. But when I've tried to make bigger items with it, or like bigger plushies, it just, the tangling in combination with like I have to be ever so careful to make sure my stitch count is staying somewhat consistent. Like I don't mind a drop stitch here or there, especially in amigurumi. I will make it up in the round. But if I'm making it up constantly in the round, then my plushie's gonna get a little wonky, and that's not fun. That's not fun, guys. I don't enjoy that. So I'm gonna make something out of this, and I'm so excited. Okay, guys, so this part actually took a ton of trial and error. I started off with the 7mm O-Fire hook, and I didn't even get like 3 stitches in before I frogged it. I went to my 9mm plain aluminum that I got in a set, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and this one actually worked pretty well. I stuck with this one for a little bit before I ended up also frogging this. You can see my hook is getting caught there, and I decided just it's a no-go. I dug into my stash and I got my 10mm out, and I thought this one was going to be the one because it did feel like the stitches were pulling pretty naturally, but the hook itself was just an issue. And then I went up to, I think this might be a 15mm, it doesn't really have a number on it, and the stitches were looking pretty good, and I worked with it for a while. I got pretty much halfway down with this heart, and I was pretty happy with the outcome. I was thinking that even if the holes were a little bigger, that I could just go ahead and line it. And I didn't think that I was going to have any problems, especially with the ease that I was having crocheting. My hook was moving through pretty smoothly, but then I started to notice that the center of my heart, where I was working on my stitches into, was getting a huge hole in it, and I didn't think that I would be able to cover that up with just weaving in my ends. So there we go, frogging all that work again. I went back to my 9mm and I figured out, usually I'm a chain 2 girl, but I figured out that if I did the magic circle, the 9mm actually didn't work out too bad. The first round was a little tough and I did have to spend a lot of time massaging my stitches, but you can see my first layer of my heart actually came out pretty good, if I do say so myself. I will say when I moved on to the second round of the heart, I was working much easier with my 9mm hook, but I did still have to spend some time massaging my stitches. I do think a 10mm would have been better here. But like I said, I just didn't have one that would work for this.
I did, after the second layer, take some time to weigh the amount of yarn that I had left just to make sure that I should keep going on to the third round of the heart. I didn't want to waste time making that third round just to find out I would have not enough yarn to complete the second half of the purse. You can see I'm very intently watching this YouTube tutorial for this heart. It was actually quite good and I really liked the way that it worked up. I really wish this counted as a workout because I swear I spent so much time massaging this yarn for this project. I never used my scale like this in a project before, but I actually do think it was quite clever so that I could make sure that I was going to have enough yarn to make both halves of this heart. Once I saw the I-cord all bundled up in a ball, I knew this project was going to be pretty, but I really was not prepared for how absolutely beautiful this was all going to work up once it was crocheted. It's so seamless and so plush, and it looks so nice.
Okay guys, I'm not even sure if I told you what I'm making, so I'm making a purse. I finished my first heart panel, and so I did weigh it when I started, and I started off with 300 grams, and so I have 172 grams left after making this one, and if I put them together, the scale does say 301 grams now. It should say 300, but either way, I think I should have enough to make the second panel, which means that I can make a little heart purse, and I think it's gonna be so cute. This is going so well, crocheting with this I-cord. Like, I can totally do this again with some other yarn that I'm not a huge fan of to make, you know, kind of like maybe what would be a smaller object a lot faster. So I think that would be cute. So I was thinking either a heart purse or a bow purse, and I went with heart, which I'm glad I did because that color is like so perfect for Valentine's Day. But I mean, this is working up pretty quickly, so I don't have any of this yarn in pink. Otherwise, I would make a bow out of that color. I do have some that's similar to this of pink yarn, but I actually really like working with that yarn, so I'm not gonna use it as a scrap project, which is what I really like this I-cord maker for. I think it's really great at turning yarn that you wouldn't otherwise use into useful yarn for you. So I did make velvet I-cord just to see if the machine could do it. So I could make it out of that. That one is silver. It's a silver, like gray velvet I-cord. I can make a bow purse out of that. That might be really pretty.
I will say that the second half of this project went a lot faster than the first half, and of course most of that is due to the lack of trial and error that I had to do for the second half. For the first half, I went through so many hooks and so much frogging that it really did eat up a whole bunch of time for me. For the second half, you can see I am flying through it. My wrist was nice and warmed up. I was used to the thicker yarn and the thicker hook. Typically, I don't use thick yarn or thick hooks. Most of my projects I like to work in a weight 2 yarn that I use with a 2mm hook. And of course, using this yarn, it was a big change for me, and so it was a lot slower to work with. But I will say I actually didn't have any wrist pain or anything. Even after all the stretching that I did and all the tugging and pulling, I didn't end up with any wrist pain, which I am going to be forever grateful for. But it was looking so good by the time I got the second panel done. I couldn't stop staring at it. I actually usually don't even use purses. I've been married to my husband for 10 years, and I bought my first purse this year, and I've been carrying it with me when we go places, and it's been such a change. I usually would only take my phone in my pocket, and really I didn't have to carry a wallet or anything because I'd usually be with my husband, and if not, I would have my wallet inside my car with me. But this year I decided that I really wanted a purse. I wanted to accessorize. I don't know what prompted that change, but I did, and it's been like super fun. So this is going to be a really nice purse to add to my collection.
So I just won yarn chicken. I made the bottom of the bag, and like if you can see, I actually still have one loop left. And I went ahead and just tied off because I didn't have any more yarn. But I guess I can just... There we go. But this is gonna go along the sides of the bag. So I could just do these two together, but then that wouldn't give you much room inside the bag. So I'm gonna do along the sides like this. Kind of like that. You get the vision.
While I was working on this, I was listening to Chase Bridges' latest YouTube video. He's been trying to solve who is A in Pretty Little Liars. And if you've ever watched Pretty Little Liars, then you know that A is like the big villain who does like all this heinous stuff to this group of teenage girls. And so Chase is on the case and he's trying to figure out who A is before the television show reveals it. I really enjoy his videos because it's such a unique take on the recap videos. I really enjoy recap videos like from Dylan Is in Trouble, but I also really like these because he's literally trying to put clues together, and I just find it so funny, especially when it's a TV show that I've seen, like Pretty Little Liars. He'll sometimes stumble upon the exact answer and then he'll say, but that would be so crazy, and then he'll dismiss it.
So as you saw last night, I finished my purse. So here we go, is a good view of it. It is a YouTube tutorial. Let me see if I could pull her up real quick. So the video is called How to Crochet a Heart for Valentine's Day, Easy Step-by-Step Tutorial, US Terms, by Adore Crochet. And she posted it last year and it's pretty popular. So it's 3 rounds. So I will say this yarn is, let's see, it marks it down as a weight 4. I would say it's a very lightweight 4. I would more likely call it a weight 3 if you're used to amigurumi. Okay, so in amigurumi terms, I would call that like a lightweight 3 because I have to use like a 3 at the most 3.5 millimeter hook with it when I'm crocheting amigurumi. So I did run that through my I-cord maker and I made I-cord out of it. I would say it's a thicker, bulky weight yarn, so between a 6 and a 7. Pushing maybe an 8. I did use a 9 millimeter crochet hook with it. I would have sized up to a 10 if my 10 wasn't so annoying to use. So this is just a plain 9 millimeter like aluminum hook. My 10 millimeter hook, however, is like an ergonomic grip hook. It's a buoy hook, but when I'm crocheting with it, it's too short. It would be really better if they would have shortened it to about here and I would have had all that to work with, because when I'm going in and out of work, especially if the yarn is thick enough to warrant this size of hook, you're like really having to work the yarn. The bigger the yarn, more difficult it is to work with no matter the hook size. So like even using a very appropriate hook size, if your yarn is that thick, it's just going to be difficult to work with. So I really don't like these for that. I really, really wish that Clover would go up. The biggest Clover hook that there is a 6 millimeter hook, at least in the soft touch. They do go up in size in the plastics, but I really prefer metal hooks. So I really wish that the Clover soft touches went up to like 20. Like I really only ever want to use the Clover hook. Anyways, so her pattern is just for the heart. It's like an applique heart. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for. So in this yarn with a 9 millimeter hook, this is the size. Let me see if I can get you some measurements. Let's see. So across, it's going to be 10 inches, and high from bump to bottom, it is 6 inches. From the heart divot to the bottom, it's 7 inches, and then of course 6 inches on the other side. Diagonal, let's check that. Okay, so the widest point diagonally is going to be 9 inches. So there you go. So it's a pretty nice size purse, I have to say. It will fit my phone, and there's still like room. Let's see, long ways, my phone is going to peek out just a bit, but if it's like tilted to one side, I would say that's pretty good. You can't really see it. Ooh, my glasses case. Pretty good. So this yarn, because I used a 9 millimeter, it's probably actually working better than the 10 millimeter would have, because I would say this is going to hold its structure pretty well. It's not very floppy. Let's see, AirPods, scissors, yarn, a random hook. Oh, my scissors poked out the bottom. I will say the gaps in the bottom are pretty tight. I don't think things are just gonna fall out. Those scissors were because I was positioning it, so I poked them through myself. But honestly, I don't travel with these large scissors. I travel with the smaller pair of like child scissors. I don't have them on my desk right now though. Yeah. I mean, I need a closure up top, but look, oh, that's so cute because it makes it look like poof out like a plushie would. Oh, I think that's pretty darn cute. But the only thing I don't like is I wasn't as precise along the bottom here when I was putting it in. So I do think it's like a little fat right here for my liking. Because what I did was I put the strip, right? So I put the strip next to one side and I sewed those together first using this. I don't know the color. Hobby doesn't put them on here. It's number 60 in the rainbow 84. I do like this cotton because it comes in so many colors, but they don't name the color. So I don't know what color it is, but it's color 6. So I used that and I sewed the strip along the side of one heart. And then I went and I sewed the strip along the side of the other heart to attach. And you can't see it. So you really can't see where I sewed it together. I will say I did make a mistake and this side. It wasn't perfectly lined up. Let me see. On both sides. Yeah. So it wasn't perfectly lined up on both sides. So this side was going to end up being a little higher and I didn't want that because I wanted it to be symmetrical. So at first I tucked it in and I sewed it, but then this side was like bulky and you couldn't tell, right? If you're just looking at it, you weren't going to be able to tell, but I could tell. And it was bothering me, especially because it was like not even on both sides. I had still like sewed this up a little bit higher. So I ended up picking out the sewing and then I just cut it and I held my breath and I hoped that I hadn't made just like a huge mistake. I was able to like unravel the I-cord and sew that around here to make it a flat edge. Now it's not perfectly even, but it is pretty even. And I will say I covered it up pretty well. You can see on the inside, you can't really tell at all. My daughter had practice this morning, so I dropped her off, and after practice, I did talk myself into going to the craft store. I picked up the gold chain, and it was only $5.49, so that's pretty nice. So it's a gold chain purse strap, and I do think, I didn't have the purse with me, so I was kind of like hoping, but look, I think that color looks so good together. And I also picked up some ribbon. So me and my husband are doing like not a no buy, but we are significantly cutting down our shopping in this new year. Our word of the year for our family is stewardship. So we want to be like just really good stewards of our possessions, what we have. We want to be using what we have and not just like purchasing more and more and more. I genuinely didn't have any purse straps. So I went to check like how much would it be. I did have like some cash in my wallet that was like for spending. That's specifically what it was for. And I've been carrying it around in my wallet for about 2-3 months now. So I was like, okay, I feel pretty good about this. So I did buy the purse strap. I think it's gonna look beautiful on it. My plan right now, because it is a like claw hook closure, I don't want to hook it directly into my purse. I'm going to sew little like, I guess just like little flat pieces along the side right here that I can hook the strap into. It's Valentine's. I did go ahead and also pick up some ribbon, and the ribbon was 40% off. So I actually, this one was $4.99. This one was $2.99. These are both 5 yards. This one is 5/8 of an inch and this one's 7/8 of an inch. And then I also got this cording, which was also 40% off, and this is 4 yards. And it's like this cool braided texture. So I really like that. And I just don't have a big ribbon collection. I looked for ribbon for this and I didn't have it. So I got these 2 ribbons. So what do we think? So here is the red and how that sort of looks. I think the red actually looks pretty nice. I thought maybe the tone was going to be an issue because I know this is like a traditional like bright red. And this is more of a red that leans blue. Okay, and then this is the pink. And I think the pink is actually in the same tonal family as this yarn. So, I don't know. I'm undecided. If I make a bow for this purse, should I do the red or the making like my what can you make with an I-cord series. I do want to make like a couple of different videos like of options. Like, okay, so you bought an I-cord machine, like what do you do with it? Because if you're like me, the first thing I did when I got my I-cord machine was I went to YouTube to look for not tutorials on how to use it, because Caydo provides you with that. They have like actually really good tutorial on how to use it. But I went to look up tutorials like, okay, like you have an I-cord maker. What do you make with I-cords? Like what can you do with all this cording? There's the obvious things, like if you make hoodies or sweatshirts or anything, like the ties, obviously that's a good method, is to use the I-cord. The wire names, I feel like is the most like well-known why you would want an automatic I-cord maker, is to make the wired names, because you know you have to make a lot of cording to make those. But like beyond that, I was like, what do you use this for? And so like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm experimenting. So like I made this purse. I made all the bows. I did wear them like on our Christmas sweaters. I have a little Christmas tree in my craft room that's covered in bows. So I want to do like different crafts, and like crafts that don't necessarily require wire, because I'm someone who I actually don't like working with wire. So I've been experimenting and like making some stuff that doesn't require wire, because like, I don't know, like wire is pretty inconvenient. I feel like that's like an added layer of like something that you need. So that's what I've been working on. So right now I'm gonna get to work. Okay, so I just went and snatched some bows off my Christmas tree that I have in front of my window. So these are the bows I was telling you about that I made a bunch of. So I have like the baby pink and then the red, and I have a ton of them. So I could also, I don't know how to, like, I think that actually looks pretty cute too. So there's that, and then there's like this baby pink. It's hard to stick it on there without it falling. Yeah, but you get the idea. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cute.
Have you guys seen The Undoing? I just finished watching it yesterday, and you know, it's like still in my head. It came out a few years ago. Nicole Kidman's in it, Hugh Grant's in it. They acted their butts off in that show. If you've seen like Gone Girl, it's kind of that feeling, that vibe where like you feel like you know, but you're not sure if you know, but you know you know. It's kind of like that. It's a psychological thriller, I would say. I keep replaying moments in my head and like really wondering like what was motivating these people, because they were making all kinds of choices that like I just did not understand. It's moody, it's tense, it's very psychological, and like it definitely got under my skin in a good way. If you like shows like that where like you just keep questioning people's intentions and thinking about it days later, I would watch this one if you haven't seen it already.
Okay guys, so that's what it's looking like. What do we think? Let me move my chair and try it on. So that's it on my hip. I can adjust it. I think that looks pretty even. I don't think that you can tell very much where I added those strap hooks at.
You can see up to there very easily. Now I'm going to pass this one over like this.
Oh,
Hold up.
I love the way he ended his video. Did you like this? Do not leave here without leaving me a like. I'm gonna start adding that into all my videos. Do not leave here without leaving me a like, you guys. So that was super, I mean, like it kind of worked, but I don't know. Is this the right size bow? Should I try again to make a bigger bow? I think I'm gonna try again, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Ooh, I never knew that trick. Oh, that worked so good. So you just take the ribbon and fold it in half, and then you literally just cut a diagonal down the center, and voila, it gives you that like cutie little perfect little ribbon edge. What do we think? I think it's super cute, actually. I think it looks like a box of chocolates. I love it. Alright guys, well, that is project 1 of What Can You Do with an I-cord Valentine's Day edition. You can make this cute little heart purse, and I mean, if you're using scrap yarn and ribbon you already own, then the only thing you need to purchase is a purse strap unless you have extras, which I just didn't. And you know, this is only $5, but I can use this for other projects because it is removable. So I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me as I made this cute bag, and I'll hang out with you again soon. Okay, thanks, bye!